In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Intellect Devourer is described as an aberration that takes the form of a walking brain, with the power to consume the intellect and minds of intelligent creatures, as well as make puppets out of host bodies. An Intellect Devourer is typically created when a Mind Flayer corrupts a humanoid brain without subjecting it to the transformation process that creates other illithids. These brains eventually break loose from their host corpse, and they sprout stubby legs tipped with razor-sharp claws. They're typically used for hunting, and are sometimes planted in corpses to puppet said corpse around, trying to lure other humanoids into an illithid colony's hunting grounds. Due to their hound-master relationship, the Intellect Devourers are sometimes referred to as brain dogs. The Intellect Devourer has an AC of 12 and 21 hit points. They have a base speed of 40, making them marginally faster than most standard creatures, and they boast a +2 to intellect and a +4 to stealth. They have blind sight up to 60 feet and can detect the presence and location of any creature with an intellect of at least 3 within 300 feet, unless blocked by the Mind Blank spell. In combat, they make an attack with their claws and a Devour Intellect attack. The claws deal 4 to 10 damage, but the real powerhouse is the second attack. The target must succeed on a DC 12 int save or otherwise take 2d10 psychic damage. In addition to this, the Intellect Devourer rolls 3d6, and if the total of that roll is higher than the target's intellect score, the intellect of that creature is reduced to 0, and they are considered stunned until they can regain 1 intellect point. This is extremely dangerous in itself, but paired with the other action that the Intellect Devourer has, this effect becomes deadly. The action Body Thief allows the Intellect Devourer to enter into an intelligence contest with a target within 5 feet. If it wins this roll-off, it devours their brain and magically replaces it with themselves, turning the body into a flesh puppet that gains the former humanoid's knowledge and speech abilities, while also retaining those of the Devourer. The Intellect Devourer then gains a protective shell, and can be evicted through the destruction of the body or the spell Protection from Evil and Good. As a DM, I would use the Intellect Devourers as hunting dogs for illithids, pairing a few of them with a single illithid commander, or more illithids depending on the level of the party. I would have the Devourers working in pairs, with one targeting players with their Claw and Devour multi-attack, and the other in the pair using their full action to use Body Thief, should their companion reduce the intellect of their target to 0. Doing so means that a single missed intellect save can set the Devourers up to take down a player permanently in as little as 2 turns. As a side note, this 1-2 combo will spell instant death for some of your players, so if you're not at a higher level with access to resurrection options, I'd recommend holding off on the Body Thief ability right away, and only use a couple of Brain Dogs in combat. The Brain Devourer was first put into print in the D&D supplement Eldritch Wizardry, published in 1976. Like the Illithid Masters that they serve, they're clearly inspired by Lovecraftian mythos and the overall cosmic horror element to sci-fi stories of the 70s and 80s. I like to think that they were a combination of the Deep Ones or other Cthulhu-esque servant creatures, and the Pod People-style aliens that were so popular during this time. These popular sci-fi and fantasy tropes, mixed with the Illithid's shtick of consuming brains, is likely what led to their later refinement and additional abilities in later editions. In comparing the monster to the inspiration, we find yet another monster inspired by a grab bag of 70s and 80s sci-fi, fantasy, and Lovecraftian horror, retooled and refined to create one of the most horrifying and memorable D&D creatures. If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like and comment below, and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also join the Patreon for $1 a month to access videos days before they're posted here, as well as other exclusive stuff like short stories, videos, and more.